Good morning. Welcome to First Church Unitarian Littleton in its remote form. Worshiping online today is a good reminder that we are a congregation, not a building. My name is Lara Hoke, pronouns she, they, and I'm so happy to serve this wonderful congregation, and I'm so glad that you're with us this morning. We welcome you just as you are, and we celebrate the many diversities among us. Diversities of age, class background, race, differing abilities, sexual orientation, gender identity, and more. And here we're also grateful for a wide tent of religious beliefs. And we're so glad that you've come to join us today. Today, I'm going to report back from the clergy call to Minneapolis. And I remind you that if you are seeking any pastoral care, if you would like to talk to somebody about anything you're going through, you can always reach out to me, or you could reach out to one of our wonderful lay pastoral ministers. Today's lay pastoral minister is Patty Sardella, and our other lay pastoral ministers are Ann Donald, Jan Dustin, and Linda Kaler. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dan for Community Matters.
Morning. I join Reverend Lara in welcoming us all to our online format. My name is Dan Lombardy, pronouns he, him. I'm a member of the standing committee. And I'm a tall white man with short brown hair and a red beard with glasses. Please review your community matters that was sent to everyone. Thank you, Laura. Some highlights for today is Emma's Revolution concert will be on February 6th. You can get tickets online, I think, right? And
Yes.
tickets will also be available at the door. Also, on Friday, February 13th, there will be a Valentine's Day karaoke party at the church. So come to that. And welcome to church.
So I will beg patience today as we work through the technical transitions. Be patient. Thank you, Dan.
Call to worship. It's The Low Road by Marge, Piercy. What can they do to you? Whatever they want. They can set you up, they can bust you. They can break your fingers, they can burn your brain with electricity, blur you with drugs till you can't walk, can't remember. They can take your child, wall up your lover. They can do anything you can't stop them from doing. How can you stop them? Alone, you can fight. You can refuse. You can take what revenge you can, but they will roll over you. But two people fighting back to back can cut through a mob. A snake dancing file can break a cordon. An army can meet an army. Two people can keep each other sane, can give support, conviction, love, massage, hope, sex. Three people are a delegation, a committee, a wedge. With four, you can play bridge and start an organization. With six, you can rent a whole house, eat pie for dinner with no seconds, and hold a fundraising party. A dozen make a demonstration. 100 fill a hall. 1,000 have solidarity and your own newsletter. 10,000 power and your own paper. 100,000 your own media. 10 million your own country. It goes on one at a time. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again and they said no. It starts when you say we and know who you mean. And each day you mean one more. Let us worship. We're going to light our chalice this morning. And say the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And our opening hymn is Fire of Commitment.
Good morning. This morning's story is called Love is Powerful, and it's written by Heather Dean Brewer and illustrated by Pham. So I'm going to wait till we're ready.
Thank you.
No
She's
worries.
right.
Take your time. Love is powerful. Mari spilled her crayons onto the table. They made a messy rainbow. What are you coloring, Mama? She asked. Mama smiled. A message for the world. Mari ran to the window and pressed her nose to the glass. Far below, people walked in different directions. Buses, cars, and taxis honked and grumbled down the busy street. Mari asked, "How will the whole world hear?" "They'll hear," Mama said, "because love is powerful." Mari climbed onto her Mama's lap. The crayons smelled sharp and new. Mama used one to write some letters. Even though Mama's words stretched across the poster, they would be too small for the whole world, thought Mari. Mari picked up a crayon. She made her own sign. She imagined her friends in their apartments across the city, Grandma and Grandpa a plane ride away, and all the people in other countries. Mari wondered, how will the whole world see our message? Mama hugged her close. "They'll see," she said, "because love is powerful." Mama handed her a coat, and then they both laced up their shoes. Mari tucked the poster under one arm and held Mama's hand with the other. They slipped through the door, into the elevator. Down, down, down they went, all the way to the lobby. Mari hopped out onto the sidewalk, then stopped and looked up. The street was packed with people, more people than she'd ever seen in her entire life. Mari tugged on Mama's arm to ask her to kneel down, and then she whispered in Mama's ear, "Mama, it's so loud, and there's so many people. They won't hear our message." Mama said, "They will, little Mari." Mama lifted Mari up, and for a moment she felt like she was flying. On top of Mama's shoulders, Mari could see the crowd swell for blocks. Hundreds and thousands, even hundreds of thousands of people marching down the street. Some held signs like Mari's, all saying different things. Everyone cheered as they walked together. Mama joined them. Mari bobbed above the crowd like a canary fluttering over a tree. She felt as tall as one of the buildings. Mari raised her sign for everyone to see, and even though she was small and the crowd was very big, so big she didn't think anyone would hear, she called out her message. Love is powerful. Through the roar, her voice was heard, and someone shouted the message back. Mari yelled again, and more joined in. Again, she yelled the message. This time, the crowd called back. Mari's message rumbled down the street and echoed off the buildings. It was as loud as a breaking wave. Love is powerful. That's the end of the story, but I want to read to you the author's note. I was only 6 years old, but I knew why we were there. Our new president had said some terrible things about women. He made people feel scared and angry. We went to the Women's March, along with hundreds and thousands of people, that cold day to show that love is really powerful. A few of my friends were with me and their parents. We rode the subway from Harlem to Midtown together after spending some time making our signs. I made two: Love is powerful and Be kind. When we joined the crowd at the march, I couldn't see that well and was tired of walking. My mom lifted me onto her shoulders as we marched down the crowded streets. When I sat on my mom's shoulders, I felt proud holding the signs I had made earlier that day. And when I called out, "Love is powerful," to my surprise, I'm sorry, it's noise, the people close to me repeated it back. Each time I said it, more people joined in. Soon, hundreds of people were echoing my chant, "Love is powerful." At that moment, I really felt its power. One voice can be heard, and one voice can make a difference. My advice to you is believe in yourself, be confident, and don't be afraid to speak up. And remember to speak up, not just for yourself, but for others too. Love, Mari. Thank you.
This congregation is self-supporting. We rely on the generosity of our members and friends for our ministries. The offering we donate today helps turn our shared values into lived commitments within these walls and beyond them. Through our collective generosity, we support compassion, equity, and hope. We invite you to contribute as you are able. You can go to our website, fculittle.org, and look for the yellow donate button. There you can see details for how to donate online if you wish. You can also send a check to the church through the mail to the attention of the assistant treasurer. Thank you for your generosity. The offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation. May we be transformed by our giving, and may the world be transformed by our gifts.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Molly, for pre-recording our piano and other music today. Many weeks we have a special time that we call the Candles of Caring, although this morning they will be Candles of the Heart and the Mind. This is a chance to share those joys, concerns, or sorrows that are dearest to you with this gathered beloved community. If you have an important joy or concern or sorrow that you would like to share, please raise the hand in the reactions area here on Zoom, and we will call on you in turn, and we will be lighting our own candles in our own hearts. Are there any joys, concerns, and sorrows to share this morning? And shall I call on people or shall you, Mike? We have come together in love and trust, sharing those cares dearest to us with this gathered beloved community. Let us hold in our thoughts and our prayers all those joys, concerns, and sorrows spoken aloud this morning, as well as those that remain unspoken, as we share together in a time of sacred silence. Amen, and blessed be. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell after the people had marched around them for 7 days, says the epistle to the Hebrews. Later in the same epistle, it says, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. We have a race of justice set before us, indeed. And those of us who love humanity and democracy must find the endurance to run that race, even if our body must run it from our armchair. All good people are called in this moment to do what they can, to offer what they can, to be community and fight for each other. Not everyone is able-bodied. It's not always possible to put one's body on the line for any number of reasons. But we can all write letters. We can make phone calls. We can demand justice from our elected officials and the powers that be, and we must. We indeed must run with endurance the race that is set before us, We must be worthy of and become that great cloud of witnesses in this moment. As most of you know, a clergy call went out last week from a group called Marge, which stands for Multi-Faith, Anti-Racism, Change and Healing. Marge asked clergy from around the country to come to Minneapolis for training and relationship building that was held this past Thursday, and for acts of solidarity, including being part of the general strike and march on Friday. And I want to thank you again for your support, which made it possible for me to respond to this call at all. Your support came in the form of my professional expense, the flexibility to make this trip, and the support of the notes you sent me over text and email and everything else, notes of support and care, worrying about me, supporting me, and even making further donations to the cause. And I'm forever grateful that you made this possible. And I proudly wore the standing on the side of love, the standing with love stole that you gave me the day of my installation as your settled minister, the same stole that I wear this morning. The experience in Minneapolis was overwhelming. It was moving, it was challenging, it was inspiring, it was freezing, it was life-changing, it was exhausting, and it was life-giving. And I have not fully integrated everything that I saw and everything that I learned. But today I want to share with you some of the photos and some of the basics of my experience. And I know I'll be sharing with you over time more of what I learned and some of the ways that it can help us to be more effective as a congregation in our acts of solidarity and love. And I know my words today will be inadequate to do it all justice, but my hope is that some of these pictures will be worth 1,000 words. So I'm going to share some photos to tell some of the tale of my trip, incompletely integrated though it may be. And this is the moment of truth that we all fear on Zoom. So here's hoping that my sharing works. So hopefully you're seeing a slide that shows the call, a picture of the call to Minneapolis that went out
Yes.
to clergy. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So this is what I saw probably on, I want to say Monday, I guess. And the call started Thursday. So everyone had to sort of drop everything and quickly figure out how they were going to do this if they could do it. And it's amazing that the organizers were able to put together anything at all with such short timing. So the first day, Thursday, was a day that we met in a church in Minneapolis. There were about 1,000 clergy, and everything remains unnamed in terms of locations, which might seem strange. But you have to understand just how careful everyone is in Minneapolis in these times, and that the presence of ICE truly must be like something like what the Gestapo felt like. People are that afraid to leave their homes. People are that afraid to be identified. There is an air of caution and fear. So the first day in this huge church in Minneapolis, I don't even know how many FCUs would fit into it. Quite a few. It was quite amazing. So we did get to hear an opening poem from the poet laureate of Minneapolis, Janauda Petrus, and that was wonderful. We heard many speakers that day who were all wonderful. You might recognize this person. This is the Reverend Ashley Horan, who is located in Minneapolis. In fact, that's where she lives. She is the Unitarian Universalist Association's vice president for programs and ministries. And she is a very active person, an activist and organizer in Minneapolis. And she was an important part of this call. And she's probably a person you will be seeing and hearing about over time. We heard from a panel, and during the day we had different workshops and different forms of training, but more than anything, we were making connections and learning how that works. This is not a photo I took. There were some arrests you might have seen or read at the airport in Minneapolis, that the clergy went to the airport and protested there. And there were quite a few clergy arrests. They only wanted local or local-ish clergy to participate in this because it would be too hard to support people who were from out of state being arrested. It would just be way too complicated. But they did make quite a witness, and it was well covered by the press. And so I believe it served a good purpose. There are times when you do this kind of direct action and get arrested and it doesn't get much press coverage. So it was wonderful that it seemed to be effective in this case. Then the next day, Friday, was the big day of action. And this is a photo that shows some of the Unitarian Universalist ministers who were present at the call. This was the photo that was in the UU World magazine. I'm somehow in the front and center. I'm not really sure how that happened, but there I am with the black pointy hat and glasses. You know, the one in the yellow stole. So this is just some of us, as I say. All told, there were about 1,000 clergy, I believe. And I don't know exactly how many Unitarian Universalists, but there had to be. I mean, I don't know, 200 of us. We made up a huge percentage relative to our numbers in terms of how many people are Unitarian Universalists in the country. So that made me feel good that we are so justice oriented and that we showed up. So some of us went on a pilgrimage, including the people you just saw in the picture. There were different activities on Friday morning, and different people did different things. Some people went to different churches that pack up supplies for immigrants in the community who are afraid to leave their houses. People are literally afraid to go to work or school for fear of ICE. So some people did things like that. There were various things happening. But one of the things happening was a pilgrimage from the site where George Floyd was lynched, essentially, to the site where Renee Good was murdered by ICE. And you can see here sort of a city map, and you can see that it's not very far. It's less than a mile. It is a walkable distance. This is South Minneapolis. It's a very diverse neighborhood, meaning, you know, there are people of color there as well as white people. There are people of all religions there, lots of immigrants there. So it's not a mistake that ICE is heavily present there. Now, of course, George Floyd was killed by local police, and Renee Good, of course, was killed by ICE. One of the interesting side benefits, I suppose you could call it, of this new time is that in a strange sort of way, it's a beginning of some kind of healing between the Minneapolis police and the people of Minneapolis, because it's sort of one of those, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And as the local police are having trouble with ICE, there is some relationship building happening. So that's, I suppose, one small silver lining to come from all of this. But we went on this pilgrimage and saw the neighborhoods. One of the things we saw, first we got oriented in a smaller but not tiny church in South Minneapolis, and we heard from a few different speakers, including one amazing local activist whose name I won't share out of an abundance of caution. But she was a wonderful speaker. She was not a preacher, but she could be. She told us how community is the cure. She told us inspiring stories of how the people of South Minneapolis are really forming community and being there for each other, supporting each other through all of this. She said that what got us here isn't going to get us out of here, and you have to pivot. And so they have learned to really provide underground care for each other, food for each other, even medical care, you name it. They're making it happen to support people who are afraid to leave their homes. She talked about consistency and showing up day after day, and that's the key to it all, and that you have to see and know who you're fighting for. And so they're really getting to know each other there in South Minneapolis. We also met George Floyd's aunt was there at this church and greeted us, which was moving. So we started off and then went from this church first to the site where George Floyd was murdered. And you saw in this entire neighborhood, you would see these periodically. It's, if you can't tell, that's like a Black Power fist. And it says one solution. And I'm not sure, I think it said one solution, one revolution, but that was one of them. This was another one, and you can see somebody speaking on that platform. And these are used in this neighborhood as platforms for the people. They can gather when they feel they need to. So we went, this is really right where George Floyd was killed at Unity Foods. And you'll see there, in addition to a minister with a side with Love Stole, you'll see that mural that you might have seen before of George Floyd. There is this site, this historic George Floyd Memorial site where he was killed. And it's a permanent site now. That's me in the foreground. You can see my clouded glasses and my cold cheeks. That's rosacea kicking in at the -10 degree Fahrenheit weather as we're walking through these neighborhoods, showing solidarity, hoping that people even inside might notice us to see our support. This was right across from the George Floyd site. It's a closed down gas station, but you'll see a burning fire there that remains burning. It's another gathering place of sorts, and behind the ministers there are some murals on the wall of people who have died from state violence. Just down the street from that George Floyd site is this place called Say Their Names Cemetery. And there are different markers here for people who died mostly due to police violence, state violence. And these are national people, not just people who were killed in Minneapolis, but it includes people killed in Minneapolis from the police and state violence. And we ministers walked around and observed, saying the names, remembering the people as we could. This is just through the window of a car, something I saw. You would see these sorts of signs here and there throughout Minneapolis. ICE go home. This is also South Minneapolis. So then we made the pilgrimage to the Renee Good site where she was murdered by ICE. And it's just very much a neighborhood. The George Floyd site is very much a neighborhood too. It has more of an urban feel, what the locals would call the hood, although it doesn't feel particularly hoody to me. But the Renee Good spot, although it's very close by, it's these pretty large houses, and it just feels like a normal kind of middle classy feeling neighborhood. And so now there's this memorial site there that we also visited. This picture I did not take. They didn't want us to take too many pictures because that would feel sort of potentially intrusive. So just one or two of us took some pictures and shared them. But this is of some of the things people have left at Renee Good's site. People continue to leave different things there and support. People are quite brokenhearted. And those are some local police by the site. They didn't give us any trouble. but there is a police presence. Okay, in a little bit, I'm going to show you a video. So we're moving on now from the morning activity of the pilgrimage to the afternoon, which was the big general strike and march. I'm told it was the first general strike in like 85 years, which is pretty amazing. So in this picture, it's blurry because it's just a screenshot from the video you're going to see. Left to right are three of us UU ministers who went. That's Reverend Jennifer Johnson on the left with the green hat from the Concord Church. I'm in the middle, and Reverend Aaron Splain, who serves the congregation in Nantucket. And I'm showing this picture. I guess you have to sort of laugh along with being sad sometimes. And we were kind of clueless trying to find all of the clergy, but it turned out clergy just sort of popped in the march here, there, and everywhere. It was impossible to find each other, to get to march as one unit, as it turned out, because it was just so huge. They say there were 50,000 people. It seemed like even more. But in any case, the three of us were together. We didn't know where to go. And we eventually asked somebody where we might go. And it was kind of a funny moment because he put us right behind the sacred drummers who were leading the march. So, and what we decided was our Forrest Gump moment. The three of us wound up at the very beginning of the parade. Go figure. It was quite random, but perhaps you can see me there toward the right with my black hat and the Martin Luther King sign. Purely chance. This picture is also a screenshot from the video. I think it demonstrates well what it's like to be in -10 degrees Fahrenheit, just frost forming anywhere there's moisture. It was really something. And here comes the video.
Say it loud, say it clear, immigrant song of the world. Immigrant song of the world.
About 3 minutes of video. You can see us cluelessly taking our places by direction, but still kind of saying to ourselves, what's happening? Are we marshals now? And here's just one of the overview shots from a drone, part of the crowd. It was just enormous. After the march, there was a rally in the Target Center where some clergy had actually had a protest earlier. And they had this nice rally after the fact with music and great speakers and so on. And it was good to come together inside out of the cold, and continue to have that feeling of solidarity. And in the crowd, uh, I'm on the right, of course, and that's Jennifer Johnson, the minister in Concord. She is in a ministry collegial group with me, but now I know her much better, which is one of the side bonuses of this. So an opportunity now to work with Concord if we wish. And of course, I'm sure you've heard, as it was shared during our candles, another tragic murder, ICE murdering yet a second United States citizen in South Minneapolis, Alex Preddy. And just as there's less than a mile between the George Floyd site and the Renee Good site, it's less than 2 miles between George Floyd and the Alex Preddy site. Again, I cannot describe to you just how much presence, how much ICE presence is in South Minneapolis, especially, and how afraid people are to leave their homes. And it's been the immigrants who are afraid to leave, and yet here they have killed 2 citizens that otherwise you would have thought would have the privilege to be out protesting. And I don't know what to say. It's really quite terrifying, but also galvanizing. So the group that organized the clergy call, in part, one of the things that they do is this Minnesota Together group, supporting impacted neighbors, as I said, with food and measures of safety, trying to help them out. And I just put this up there in case any of you wanted to make a mark with a donation if you're able. You can look them up online, Minnesota Together, or you can go straight to this givebutter.com/MN together if you wish to make a donation at any time. I can send that around by email as well. And I wanted to let you know that tonight there is going to be a virtual prayer vigil if you are interested. It's going to be with the Massachusetts UU clergy who returned. I will participate. I'm not sure what I'll be doing, if I'll just be there in presence or if I'll have a role. I'm not sure yet, but it will be a prayer vigil. And tonight at 7, that is the short address for the Zoom. I will email out that information as well for anyone who's interested. Stop this screen share. Okay. So the biggest learning I had from my experience, or the biggest learnings, I suppose, just how scary it can be when ICE comes to your city. And we know, I'm sure some of you have heard that ICE is now making themselves felt in Maine, and we might be called to help our neighbors in Maine. There's occasionally a threat that they'll show up in Boston. I don't know if they'll have the nerve, but they might. And we have to be ready to form the kinds of networks that they formed in South Minneapolis. It's the only way. I've learned community and collaboration, coalition, that's the only way. We have to know the people we're fighting for, as that activist told us. You can't do this in isolation. We have to be together in this. We have to be getting free together. And there is a role for everyone. And it takes everyone. And everyone has to take a shift in this resistance. You have to take breaks too. And you have to have times for joy and everything else, but you have to take your shifts. Everyone. The time is now. The days that we've dreaded are here. We, though, we can together get through this. We can together keep each other safer. And we can together make sure that democracy in the United States of America, as we've known it, can survive. And may we do all that we can to make it so. Blessed be, and amen. And for our closing words, as we do on Zoom, if you put your hands up to the sides, we're virtually holding hands. Friends, we are indeed the ones to keep ourselves safer, to help ourselves remain free, to help others be free. Although these are scary times, we can't be dominated by fear. We have to be following love. We have to be guided by love and community and that commitment. This is the time, if ever there were a time, to stand up and find the time to take your shifts. This is the time for beloved community, for beloved resistance. May we find it in our hearts. May we find the courage to do all we can together so that love will win. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.